Welcome to our executive video series here at the Zero Trust Summit. We're here with Eric Trexler, SVP of U.S. Public Sector for Palo Alto Networks. Eric, so glad to see you. Thanks for joining us. Welcome.
Thanks for having me, Billy. It's been a great day.
I'm very excited to talk a little bit more about Zero Trust after your appearance on stage today, and I'm curious, what are the most significant operational challenges that government agencies or across the public sector currently face in establishing a Zero Trust environment?
So I think there's a big disconnect still between the business and IT and security on what we're trying to do. What's our mission or what business are we in, along with how do we secure that mission or that business. Today, the mandates, the executive orders, we've seen the pillars, we've seen every agency has guidance that they follow that comes out of NIST or CISA or the DoD or wherever it may come from. There's a lot of guidance and a lot of opinions. I think one of the challenges is really mapping that business, though, to the technical capabilities that the teams are trying to implement. Too often we try to implement before we think, or if we even think, about what is the mission of this agency, what are we trying to accomplish here. Also, I think of places, where do you start? I see a lot of agencies, a lot of state and local governments, they want to just zero trust the enterprise. And it's hard to even understand what they mean by that. We spend a lot of time understanding what that means. I think there are workforce challenges. So mapping business to tech to get the desired outcomes you want. Workforce challenges. There's a lot of turnover. There aren't enough people in the business. We need to drive for automation. We need to drive to orchestration and use tools to really take advantage of the humans we have and the capital that we have. Because we just don't have enough people in the workforce. And retention has been a big problem. And lastly, I would say consolidation. The average customer is somewhere between 40 and over 120 security products in play in their organization. Especially the larger the organization, the more tools. One of the things we've seen is you can't manage all of that. There is no way to manage that. A new problem comes up, and they buy a different tool to solve that problem. We've got to standardize. We've got to look at how do we consolidate in the industry to a couple of key vendors to solve the problems. There is no one vendor that can solve all of your problems, and there certainly aren't any zero trust vendors that sell the ultimate zero trust product. But pick that core few products, or vendors I should say, that can partner with you. What we've seen on the state and local side is an amazing amount of effort because they're smaller than federal. They have fewer people, lower budgets, right? They have to partner more openly. On the federal side, we've seen a tremendous amount of progress with the executive order, with the NIST guidelines. I mean, every agency almost has guidelines that they either follow or they publish. It really gets confusing, but we've seen a lot of progress as they look to what are we going to do. But it's a larger problem also for the federal space. So state and local, a great example would be the state of North Dakota. The governor comes from an IT background. They're educating their personnel at the K through 12 level, at the higher education level. It's a state with 800,000 people. Cybersecurity is a real focus for the state of North Dakota, and they're bringing a zero trust approach to the way they defend their networks, their data, their applications, their users in the state, because of that overall focus that they have.
And despite some of those operational challenges, where have you seen progress across the public sector in the zero trust architecture space?
So I cover both state and local education and the federal government. The federal government has made great strides. They're doing a lot of work. We've seen a lot of progress on what they should do. We've got the President of the United States in Executive Order 14028 dictating what tools they should buy. So we've made a lot of progress there. But the best progress I've seen is in the state and local and education market. They're smaller, they're more nimble. You take a state like North Dakota, they've totally integrated cybersecurity. Why? They have a governor who comes from the IT perspective. He's made it a priority. He's made it a priority on education, K through 12, higher education, throughout the state. They have 800,000 people. It's an easier problem to solve for them versus looking at the entirety of the DoD and the mission the DoD has. I'm not saying it's easy, but I've definitely seen on the state and local side there are just excellent capabilities because they're smaller, because they have lesser budgets, they have fewer people, they have to. That industry agency partnership tends to be more robust and more open for sharing.
Eric, fantastic insights. Thanks so much for your time today.
Thanks for your time. It's been great.